The phone was a bargain. Too good, really. Fully wiped like new. The marketplace listing screamed in aggressive caps. A flagship model for half price thanks to a tiny cosmetic scratch. My old device wheezed its last breath after 4 years of loyal service, its battery swelling like a poisoned frog. Desperation clouded my judgment when I met Carl Balding, sweating Carl with nicotine-stained fingers, behind a gas station off the interstate. He smelled of stale coffee and cheap anxiety. Got it from my nephew, he mumbled, eyes darting like trapped flies. Kid upgraded, just needs a new SIM. He practically shoved the sleek, black rectangle into my hands. It felt unnaturally cold, dense like holding a slab of obsidian dredged from Arctic depths. A faint cloying scent clung to it. Ozone mixed with the sickly sweetness of lilies left too long on a grave. Red flags waved, but the price tag silenced them. Carl's hand trembled when he snatched the cash, peeling away in a rust bucket pickup before I could even power it on. The first seed of unease took root. For 48 hours, it was perfect. Blazing fast, a camera that captured city sunsets like liquid fire. Then on Wednesday night, scrolling for a cat meme to torment Ben, I froze. Nestled between a screenshot of a pizza confirmation and Loki mid-yawn was an intruder, an old photograph scanned poorly, grainy, sepia leaching into jaundiced yellow at the edges. It depicted a family imprisoned on an ugly floral sofa. A man in a stiff moth-eaten suit, eyes wide and unfocused, staring through the lens into some private abyss. Beside him, a woman clutching a lace handkerchief like a lifeline, knuckles bloodless bone against the monochrome, lips compressed into a razor cut of terror. Between them, perched stiffly like a broken doll, sat a girl of about 5, blonde pigtails, frilly dress, but her eyes, deep dark wells drowning in pure frozen dread, they locked onto the viewer with accusatory intensity. Behind them, in the murky doorway, it waited, a shadow denser than the surrounding gloom. Impossibly tall, head grazing the doorframe, vaguely humanoid but stretched thin, warped. Elongated limbs hinted at a hunched silhouette. No face, just a vortex of absolute blackness, but its gaze was palpably heavy, malignant, watching the family, watching me. A sliver of ice slid down my spine. Creepy, I muttered, thumb jabbing delete, nephew's goth face leftovers. The trash can icon spun. Gone. Ben got his meme. Sleep came fitfully, dreams haunted by floral patterns and silent screams. Morning coffee tasted bitter. Idly flipping through photos, my mug slipped. It was back. Identical position unchanged. The knot in my stomach tightened. Delete. Empty, recently deleted. Gone. By lunch, it mocked me again. Panic fluttered. I tried isolation, moved it to a hidden album. It vanished from hiding, reappearing brazenly in the main gallery. Cloud exile? Uploaded it, deleted locally. Local deletion stuck, but the cloud spat it back overnight like toxic waste. Factory reset. Heart pounding, I opened the gallery. Blissful emptiness. 10 seconds later, a soft blip. The photo. Alone. Centered. The girl's terrified eyes pinned me through the screen. This wasn't a glitch. It was persistence. Malice. Research yielded tech solutions, corrupted storage, malware, faulty backups. Security scans found nothing. The phone purred flawlessly, except for this digital humor. Then the photo began its metamorphosis. Grain deepened, resolving into unsettling textures. The shadow solidified, shoulders narrowed unnaturally, the head tilted at a biomechanically impossible angle. The facial void deepened, pulsating faintly, hungry. The family's terror intensified. The man's gaze now fixed accusingly on me. The woman's knuckles looked ready to explode. The girl's mouth downturned in a silent sob. I avoided the gallery. The phone became a lead weight, radiating cold. The crypt smell intensified post-reappearance. Sleep shattered. Visions of static snow and choked screams from that floral sofa. Waking, gasping, convinced the shadow's void face hovered inches from mine. Smelling of ozone and decay. The digital cancer was metastasizing into reality. One rain-lashed night, insomnia's grip tight, I stared at the photo, the screen's glow my only light. Zoomed on the girl. "Who hurt you?" I whispered, the sound swallowed by the oppressive silence. "What did it do?" The screen erupted, blinding white lights seared my retinas, flooding the room with the photo's sickly yellow aura. The image filled the screen, magnified, grotesque. Grain writhed like maggots. The shadow, now horrifically clear. Emaciated wasn't the word. Gaunt limbs like desiccated vines, jointed all wrong, ending in elongated chitinous claws. A predatory hunch radiating menace. The head, no face, but the blackness wasn't passive. It seethed. Tendrils of deeper shadow coiled within like serpents. It stood poised, one clawed hand gripping the doorframe, splinters digging into unnatural flesh. Its entire posture wasn't watching the family. It was angled towards the camera, towards me. Before I could react, the image glitched violently. A digital scream. Then, with a sickening wet crunch from the speaker, the girl's head snapped around. Not a turn, a wrench, 180 degrees, vertebrae grinding in a sound that bypassed ears and vibrated in my bones. Her pigtails whipped, her eyes, now high-definition voids, locked onto mine. Bottomless pits of anti-light. Her downturned mouth stretched impossibly wide in a silent shriek. Then sound. A child's voice, stripped of innocence, layered with static, whispering from inside the phone. "He sees you." Flat, toneless, digital decay given voice. "He's coming." I screamed raw and primal. The phone flew from my hand, a burning brand. It hit the wall with a crystalline crack, screen exploding into a spiderweb of obsidian shards. It lay dark. Dead. Silence rushed in, thick and heavy. Relief warred with terror. Broken, gone. I huddled, shaking, the stench of ozone and grave flowers choking. The next day I bought the latest flagship. Gold-sealed, untainted, meticulous setup, no cloud restore. A sterile digital womb. Transferring contacts, the empty gallery felt like sanctuary. That evening, seeking normalcy, I sat in my armchair, chamomile tea steaming. Proof of peace. I opened the new phone's camera, framed my cozy living room bookshelf, lamplight, low-key purring on the rug. A snapshot of safety. Click. I swiped to the gallery, my blood turned to slush. The image wasn't my living room, a night shot. Grainy, high ISO noise. My bedroom, my bed. The duvet rumpled, pillow indented from my head. And there, in the deep corner beside the wardrobe, merged with shadows, but horrifyingly distinct, stood the figure, tall, gaunt, head tilted at that impossible angle. The seething void face directed at the bed, at where I slept. It wasn't watching the family anymore, it was in my room, watching me. The phone tumbled from numb fingers. The cozy lamplight became a pathetic candle against an abyss. Room shadows deepened, pulsed. The cloying stench of dead lilies and ozone curdled the air. The digital ghost hadn't been exorcised. It had migrated. It wasn't trapped in a photo, it was in the lens. The silicon, the very architecture of connection. It had followed me. It was here. Its calling card glowed up from the carpet. My gaze, dragged by terror, lifted to the room's deepest corner. Silence hummed now. A low electronic thrum felt in the molars. In the shifting gloom, a deeper blackness detached itself, tall, thin, waiting. The new phone screen, still displaying my sleeping form and its spectral watcher, emitted a soft, mocking ping. A notification. I didn't look. Couldn't. Days bled into a haze of paranoia. I kept the new phone sealed in a Faraday bag inside a locked drawer. I used a burner, but the dread was omnipresent. Whispers in white noise. Shapes coalescing in peripheral vision. The smell lingered. Sleep was impossible. I researched Carl. His marketplace account was deleted. The gas station clerk remembered, a nervous man but no name. A dead end. Driven by desperation, I visited the city archives. The sofa in the photo, it felt specific, ugly 70s florals. Hours of squinting at microfiche yielded nothing. Then, in a forgotten box of unclaimed estate auctions, I found it. A Polaroid, different angle, same room. Same terrified family, same shadow in the doorway. The auction tag. Lot 42, contents of 47 Blackwood Lane. Estate of Agnes Miller, deceased, Blackwood Lane. A derelict street slated for demolition. I went at dusk. Number 47 was a corpse of a house, sagging roof, boarded windows, the stench of decay. Forcing a rotting back door, I stepped into a tomb. Dust choked the air. And there in the front room, shrouded in shadows and debris, sat the sofa. The exact, hideous floral pattern. My breath hitched. This was a ground zero. A cold draft snaked from the hallway from the photo. My phone, the burner, buzzed violently in my pocket. Not a call, a notification. From the Faraday-caged new phone? Impossible. Heart pounding, I pulled out the burner. The screen showed a new corrupted image, a live feed from this room, taken from near the ceiling. I stood alone staring at the sofa. But superimposed, glitching in and out, was the figure. Standing behind me in the decaying hallway, one clawed hand reaching towards my shoulder. I spun. Nothing but shadows and dust motes dancing in the dying light. But the image on the phone updated. The figure was now beside me, its void face inches from the screen. A new notification popped up, text glitching. Hello again. You found my home. Now I find yours. The burner screen went black. A low digital chuckle emanated from its speaker. A sound of grinding gears and static. I ran. The house seemed to groan behind me, the shadows reaching like cold fingers. Back in my apartment, I destroyed the burner, smashed it, burned it. But the new phone, locked in its Faraday cage. It pinged again, inside the silenced drawer. A notification shone through the fabric. Attachment received. Bedroom _new.jpg. I didn't open it. I knew. It was a new picture, closer, clearer. Maybe while I slept. The figure wasn't just watching anymore, it was learning, adapting. The digital cage was no longer a barrier, it was a new habitat. The infection wasn't just in the device, it was in the network, the signals, the invisible pathways of data I couldn't escape. It had roots in the physical world now, in the rot of Blackwood Lane, and it was spreading through the wires and waves into the sanctuary of my home. The unwanted photo was no longer an image, it was a door. And the thing from the doorway was stepping through pixel by pixel into my world. The hum in the silence wasn't electronic anymore. It was the sound of it breathing, waiting for the lights to go out. for good.